You want to know about the day everything changed? Fine. Let me tell you about the moment the entire Galactic Council collectively soiled their ceremonial robes. My name is Vek'thar, and I'm what you'd call a military analyst for the Drakmari Empire. Fancy title for someone who spends most of his time watching surveillance feeds and filing reports nobody reads. But that Tuesday, that glorious Tuesday, I filed a report that had the high command scrambling like hatchlings who'd lost their mother. It started with a ping. Just one tiny, insignificant ping on the deep space scanners near Sector 7. You know, that backwater region everyone ignores because nothing interesting ever happens there. The sector containing that little blue marble the primitive species called Earth. Vek'thar, my supervisor, Gormal, slithered over to my station, his tentacles quivering with irritation. Why are the proximity alarms screaming like a wounded Thraxis beast? I checked the readings. Then checked them again. Then slapped the console because clearly, it was malfunctioning. It wasn't malfunctioning. Sir, I said slowly, my voice cracking slightly. The human installation is active. The color drained from Gormal's face, which is quite impressive considering his species doesn't technically have blood. Which installation? The installation, sir. The Guardian Station. Let me back up. See, about 3,000 years ago, give or take a century, humans were the apex predators of this galaxy. Not just tough or clever, mind you. They were absolutely, horrifyingly unkillable. They colonized hostile worlds for fun. They turned dying stars into power sources. They created artificial intelligence that could rewrite reality itself. And then, one day, they just stopped. Every human colony went dark. Every ship vanished. Every station fell silent. The galaxy collectively breathed a sigh of relief and promptly tried to forget humanity ever existed. We catalogued their abandoned worlds, stripped some of their tech, carefully avoided others, and moved on with our lives. But there were rumors. Whispers of Guardian stations placed throughout the galaxy. Automated defense systems designed to activate if Earth ever faced extinction-level threats. Most species considered them myths. Horror stories to scare young cadets. I was staring at proof they were very, very real. Get me command, Gormal hissed. Now. Within minutes, our bridge looked like a circus. Admirals materialized via hologram, each one looking more panicked than the last. Admiral Thexwin, a grizzled veteran who'd survived 4 wars, actually trembled as he studied the data. How long has it been active? He demanded. 17 minutes, sir, I reported, watching the energy signatures spike higher. And it's accelerating. What triggered it? That's when things got really interesting. Because according to our intel network, someone had been very, very stupid. The Krell Dominion, those arrogant reptilian warmongers, had decided that Earth, with its depleted defenses and primitive population, would make an excellent target for resource extraction. They'd sent a fleet. A big one. 200 warships armed with planet crackers. The fleet had just entered Earth's solar system. Sir. Another analyst shouted. The Guardian Station is broadcasting. The message came through in 17,000 languages simultaneously. Most of them dead tongues nobody had spoken in millennia. The translation matrix struggled, then finally spat out the meaning. Warning. Hostile forces detected within protected zone. Directive 7 Alpha initiated. Neutralization protocols active. Estimated time to full deployment, 12 minutes. 12 minutes. Someone contact the Krell. Thexwin roared. Tell them to retreat immediately. Too late. The Guardian Station opened like a mechanical flower, revealing a structure that shouldn't exist according to known physics. Rings within rings, spinning in impossible directions, generating energy readings that made our sensors weep. And then it fired. Not at the Krell fleet. No, that would have been too simple. It opened a wormhole directly behind them, cutting off their retreat. Then it deployed what our analysts later identified as approximately 40,000 autonomous combat drones, each one roughly the size of a fighter craft, each one powered by miniaturized fusion cores, each one armed with weapons that made our most advanced technology look like stone knives. The Krell fleet didn't stand a chance. I watched, horrified and fascinated, as 200 warships were systematically dismantled in under 6 minutes. Not destroyed. Dismantled. The drones peeled apart their hulls like fruit, extracted the crews in escape pods, then crushed the ships into perfect metal cubes. Gormal whispered something in his native tongue. I didn't need a translator to know it was a prayer. The Guardian station wasn't finished. It began moving, accelerating toward Earth at speeds that should have torn it apart. Except it didn't tear apart. It just kept going, trailing those 40,000 drones like a swarm of vengeful stars. It's heading to Earth, I said unnecessarily. What's it doing? Vek'thar asked. I pulled up the long-range scans of Earth itself. What I saw made my spine ridges stand straight up. Ships. Hundreds of ships. Old human ships, buried in oceans and deserts and mountains, their systems dormant for thousands of years. They were waking up. The bridge had gone completely silent except for the hum of our failing sensors. Every officer, every analyst, every breathing creature was staring at the main display like it might suddenly make sense if we looked hard enough. It didn't. Sensors are registering 947 distinct power signatures on Earth's surface, I reported, my voice barely steady. All matching human military classifications. Ships ranging from frigate class to, wait what? Gormal demanded. I triple-checked the reading because my career, possibly my life, depended on accuracy right now. Sir, there's a Dreadnought-class vessel emerging from beneath the Pacific Ocean. Vek'thar made a choking sound. How big? 12 kilometers long, sir. Someone in the background fainted. I didn't blame them. Dreadnoughts were the kind of ships humanity built when they wanted to make a point. Like, hey, we can construct a flying city armed with enough firepower to glass a solar system, and we can make it look elegant while doing it. The fact that one had been sleeping underwater for 3 millennia was somehow both terrifying and typical of human over-engineering. The vessel rose from the ocean, water cascading off its hull in waterfalls that probably caused tsunamis. Its surface was covered in symbols that our translation software refused to process. Not couldn't. Refused. The program literally shut down rather than attempt the task. The Guardian station is broadcasting again, another analyst called out. This time the message was shorter, simpler, and somehow infinitely more threatening. Guardian protocol active. Earth Defense Network online. All hostile entities have 12 hours to vacate this sector. Failure to comply will result in extreme prejudice. This is your only warning. 12 hours. Sir, the Krell survivors are requesting immediate extraction, someone shouted. Vek'thar actually laughed. It was not a happy sound. Tell them they're on their own. Nobody is going anywhere near that system. Smart man. But here's where it gets weird. Well, weirder. Because while we were all watching the fireworks, someone noticed something odd. The human ships weren't just activating randomly. They were forming up in defensive positions around Earth. Organized. Coordinated. Following tactical patterns that military academies across the galaxy still taught. They're protecting something, I muttered, running pattern analysis. But what? The planet's population is barely 7 billion primitives with chemical rockets. Gormal leaned over my shoulder. Run a deep scan. Full spectrum. I want to know what those ships are guarding. I initiated the scan, routing it through our most sensitive equipment. The results came back instantly, and I really wished they hadn't. There was a structure. Deep underground, beneath what humans called Antarctica. It was massive, spanning almost the entire continent. Energy readings suggested it had been there for at least 5,000 years, possibly longer. And it was waking up too. What is that? I whispered. Nobody answered because nobody knew. The Guardian station reached Earth orbit and stopped, hovering like some ancient deity surveying its domain. The 40,000 drones spread out in a sphere formation, creating a defensive perimeter that would make attacking Earth roughly as sensible as headbutting a black hole. Then Earth itself started broadcasting. Not the Guardian station. Not the ships. The planet. The signal was old. Ancient. It carried frequencies that made our equipment spark and smoke. When the translation finally came through, I felt my blood turn to ice. "Hello, Galaxy. Did you miss us?" The voice was human, female, amused, and absolutely, utterly calm in a way that suggested she knew exactly how terrified everyone was and found it hilarious. "This is Commander Lyra Kane of the Earth Defense Initiative. For those keeping track, yes, we've been asleep. No, we're not happy about being woken up. The automated systems should have handled this quietly, but apparently someone couldn't take a hint." A pause. I could almost hear her smiling. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave. All of you. This sector is off limits until we say otherwise. Anyone with territorial claims, mining rights, or colonial ambitions can file a formal complaint with the galactic authorities. We'll review it in approximately never." Another pause. "Oh, and to the Krell Dominion specifically? Your fleet tried to crack our planet. Our automated defenses responded with appropriate force. Your survivors are being escorted to the edge of the system unharmed because, unlike you, we don't murder people for profit. You're welcome." The transmission cut off. Vek'thar stared at the display for a long moment. Then he started laughing. Deep, bellowing laughs that shook his entire frame. "Something funny, sir?" Gormal asked carefully. "Funny? No. Ironic? Absolutely." Vek'thar wiped his eyes. "We spent 3,000 years convinced humanity was extinct. We stripped their colonies. We studied their ruins. We wrote dissertations about what killed them. What's the irony, sir? They weren't dead. They were hiding." Vek'thar pulled up historical files. "Look at their expansion pattern. Aggressive, overwhelming, unstoppable. Then they just vanished. Everyone assumed catastrophe. Nobody considered that maybe, just maybe, they decided to stop. It made a horrible kind of sense. Humanity hadn't died out. They'd gone home, pulled back to their origin world, left their defense networks running, and simply waited to see if the galaxy could behave itself. Apparently, we couldn't." "Orders, sir?" I asked. Vek'thar straightened his uniform. "Issue a general alert. Mark this entire sector as restricted space. Any vessel entering without authorization will be considered hostile. And someone send a formal apology to Earth." "An apology, sir?" "We woke them up," he said grimly. "The least we can do is apologize." As I filed the reports, I kept one eye on the Earth Defense Network. Those ships, that station, that sleeping giant we'd disturbed. They weren't moving. Weren't attacking. Just watching. Waiting. And somehow, that was infinitely more terrifying than any battle could be. Because now the galaxy knew the truth. Humanity hadn't fallen. They'd simply been napping. And we'd just hit the snooze button.